Dame i gospodo, Daniela Landherr.
Hvala.
Izvolite, pozornica je
Puno,
vaša. The
puno
stage is
hvala.
yours.
Hvala. Ja ću ovo napraviti na engleski, ali ako budete sa mnom htjeli govoriti, ja znam hrvatski, moja mama je Hrvatica, ona je danas tu, ja 15 godina stojim ovako na bini, ovo je prvi put da je ona sa mnom ovdje, znači meni puno znači. Hvala. So I'm going to switch to English. It's much more natural. I grew up in a different country, so this is very easy for me. I wanted to come here for you today and talk about my experience, my observations, and the work I've done in the past 15 years of looking behind the scenes of what really drives culture. And how when you want to drive innovation, it's not just about grabbing a whiteboard and then you just write something down on the whiteboard and get ideas together and brainstorm. No, there's so much more behind it, and I want to walk you through what some of these things are. So the first thing, I'm going to focus on just some of the observations. So the first thing I want to talk about is not working. Oh, that was yours. Do I get a different one? Na kojoj? Hvala. Hvala. Great. So this was a good start. Thank you, Tony, for yours. So I want to share observations from what I've learned and looked at behind the scenes at Google of what drives innovation. A company that many people say, wow, Google drives so much innovation. There's many products we use. Who uses Google Maps, for example, to navigate here? Yes, super helpful. One of my favorite products. Who uses Gmail, for example? Yeah, so many hands. Who uses Google Search? Yes, and great alternatives, right? It's not you have to use one, but one thing I loved about working at Google was the way that products come to life. It's not that some smart people say, ooh, we need to develop the next big product. No, it's really rooted in problems, in issues. Like Gmail was born by two people just complaining that 20 years ago, Outlook was not searchable. You couldn't search for a keyword and it would show you the content of an email. It was not possible. And they said, but hold on a minute. We can search the internet for information based on a keyword. Why can't we do that with an email? And that was how Gmail, the idea of that was born. And so the first thing I have to share with you is having a culture where it is purpose-driven. A culture where you know exactly it is a purpose that everybody owns, that everybody co-creates. We all know where we're going. We're all part of this mission. You create that engagement of belonging by knowing we're all in it together. And the second thing is designing the experience for your employees. And we've heard Claude talk about this quite a lot. It is crucial that we treat employees like we would treat clients and not say what we do is for our clients and customers. What we do is we invest in our people, and our people will engage our customers. The third lesson I want to share with you, and I actually want to quote Henry Ford. Henry Ford said that if he asked people in the street, what do you want? They would have said, faster horses. They were riding horses back in the day. There were no cars. And he said, what do you want to innovate? And they said, faster horses, more horses, faster horses. And had he created, I don't know how, faster horses, we would never have invented cars. And what it means to take a 10x approach is to start with an idea from scratch. Too often we have an idea that we think, this works really well, and we iterate. How can we get 10% more performance out of people? Many of you work in HR. I'm sure you've asked these questions. How can we squeeze 5% more from our profit? How can we increase something 5%, 2%? What if you think, how can we engage people 10 times more than they are today? What happens when you ask this question is you stop thinking in incremental changes. You stop just changing small things bit by bit. And what happens is you take a step back and you start thinking big. And think about this for a second. If your employees were to be 10%, let's go 10 times more engaged than what they are today, what would it take? That's where innovation starts, in a different mindset. And what we do too often is we hoard information, because information is power. So what we don't do is we find out how something works, we find out how something doesn't work, and then we sit on it like a basket with eggs, and we're like, this is mine. Whereas information needs to be shared. And I want to share some data with you. 25% of a workday, we are looking for information. We're searching for stuff, we're Googling things, we're trying to find something that we don't know yet. And of that 25% of the workday, we spend 50% searching in more than 5 different places. Can't find it here. Who of you still works with binders, like paper binders at the office? I see some hands, right? Shy hands, yes. So it's like you open a binder, you try to find the paper, you can't find it, you put it back. You take the next one and you do this 5 times. 5 different binders, and you check each one of them, you can't find it. And you know what happens next when you can't find it? In 38% of the cases, you recreate that information. You just build it again. You create a new paper. Because it's not accessible for others. It can't be found. That's why having whatever it's called, an intranet or whatever place you have to put your information is crucial so that others can access it and learn from each other. The 5th thing is being a technology teenager. And what that actually means is to be on top of what's going on in the world from a technological perspective. How do people work with each other? What are some of the things that are happening around me that create more productivity in our day-to-day life? And that could be, like here, real-time typing. I type in a document while someone else edits at the same time. Instead of saving a version 1 and then sending it, and then saving a version 2 and then sending it. So really being smart about using new tools, new apps, making this world around us truly digital and easy. Let technology work for us and not us for technology. And that brings me to one of my favorite points of penguins. Who of you likes penguins? I see so many hands right now. Okay, so who of you knows how penguins hunt fish? I see a couple of shy hands. Any National Geographic fans? Yes, a few hands. They're beautiful to watch when they catch fish, but I want to tell you a story about penguins you might not know. When penguins are hungry and they live in big colonies, they will walk or waddle, if you will, like a penguin. They'll waddle to the edge of an iceberg or the little island, and then they'll stop because what's in front of them? What's in the water? Why are they afraid? Yeah, there's predators in here. There's whales, orcas. There could be sea lions, something that will eat them. So they stop because, you don't see what's going on underneath you. So they just halt and wait. But from behind, that colony is pushing. And so the penguin that stands in the front is like, whoa, 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 and standing like, and there's the pressure from behind until plop, one of them falls. And when that penguin falls, the colony halts. They just stop and they watch. quite cruel. And they watch. And so when they're watching, what are they looking for? They are looking what's going to happen to that penguin. Because if that penguin resurfaces, it's very clear feedback. The water is safe. And we can all go in, we can all jump in, and we can all go catch fish. What if that penguin does not resurface? We don't go in. We will go back, we will stay hungry for longer, we're not going to jump into the water. And what do, we humans, in the workplace? Who of you feels like you've been a penguin that was shoved in to the water? Wow, I see way more hands than I wish to see. Sometimes we become the penguins, maybe because someone else wants that promotion. So we serve a purpose. We serve the purpose of being fed to see if others can survive. Maybe we have been the penguin that was close behind another one and we just gave them a shove. And if they survived, we said, oh, look at you, good for you. It was thanks to me. You just needed some courage. That's all you needed. And if they didn't resurface, we're like, no, it wasn't me. It was not me. Those are tactics that people use in the workplace, mostly in a toxic environment. Those are things that we are afraid of. And so when we look at 6 things that work very well at Google to drive innovation, when we did surveys to ask, what is it why you really love working here? What is it why you feel engaged and empowered? The answer again and again and again was people. People. And so we're like, yeah, but what does that even mean? So looking beneath that surface, what does it mean, people? And I want to just call out this quote by Aristotle, who was a philosopher, who said, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, meaning that together we are so much more than individual parts. And so in 2012, we worked having this hypothesis that if, as a company that was already global, if we hired the best talent from the best universities, we would have the best innovation. Easy. And we also assumed that if we hired the best people, we would drive innovation. We would have the best products. So easy. Hire the best people, they'll produce the greatest products, and that's it. And we wanted to find out if that was true, and it took us much, much more than we anticipated to come to an answer. It took us 2 years. We interviewed 37,000 employees and 180 teams. We looked at all the data, and Google's a very data-driven company, all the data we had available, only to come to the conclusion that what people means was actually people wanting to feel safe. And not just safe, but psychologically safe. We wanted to know that someone has our back. That means why I like to work here is because I feel safe. And then nothing for a long time until in number 2 came dependability. And you might read it, right? Dependability, psychological safety, both have a lot to do with trust. And we heard Anthony talk about this earlier. We heard Claude talk about this earlier. Trust is crucial when you bring people together. If you don't have it, it becomes toxic. Number 3 was having structure and clarity. Number 4 was creating meaning and purpose and letting people in on that. Not have someone at the top say, our purpose is, and then they show the way, and you're like, well, are we supposed to follow? If this penguin gets eaten, am I going to throw myself in? No, maybe not. We choose who we follow. And the last one is impact, because if I know what I do has meaning, it will make an impact. I will be able to build a legacy. we will be able to build a legacy together. And so the results of things we looked at included an example I want to share with you, that teams that of themselves said, we feel psychologically safe. So just carving that out. Teams that said, we feel psychologically safe, they overperformed by 17%. They felt safe to take risks. They felt safe to fail. Whereas teams that did not feel psychologically safe, they took no risks. You give them KPIs, objectives, that's all they do. I know what I have to do, that's what I will do, and nothing else. I'm not risking anything. I'm standing far back, even if I'm the hungriest penguin on earth. I'm not taking any risks because I don't feel safe. And so these projects, these teams did not innovate. They didn't move forward, they stagnated. But what does it even mean to be psychologically safe? And psychological safety is something we perceive. It's not something we have or don't have. It can come and go, and I'll show you that later. But it can be an example of when I fail, I'm not going to be judged. I'm not going to be criticized because I don't have to hide it. I can put it out in the open. We can learn from it. Psychological safety can also mean I feel safe to disagree with my team, but also my superiors. Not just one-to-one, but also in a group setting, in a respectful way. And psychological safety also means that I feel safe that my peers won't stab me in my back, especially if they want to get ahead. There's openness and transparency in front of us all. We know we want to get ahead. Let's talk about the elephant in that room. And my managers and my peers will give me candid, honest feedback for me to help me grow. Ask yourself this, you don't have to show of hands, but when have you last been given critical, candid feedback? Just think about that for a moment. And not the, oh, you're doing great, and oh, you're amazing. No, but the honest feedback that you feel like, wow, someone's just trying to help me. It hurts, but someone's trying to help me. And if you haven't received that in a while, go ask for it. And tell people, tell me the stuff I don't want to hear. Tell me the stuff that you think will hurt me, because that's how you help me. And that becomes normal, and that becomes easier to do. And so psychological safety is, and we've heard it in pockets before, it's not a state of comfort. It's not a place to be and sit and say, oh, we all like each other. We're like one big happy family. Let's protect that. Let's keep it like this forever. You want some teddy bears and snuggies and a nice fire, and let's just snuggle and be nice together. That's comfy. That's great. That feels good. But it gets us nowhere in the long term. So it's a paradox, because in a way we're looking for that. But actually the way we grow is when we challenge. When we challenge each other, not to an extreme where we mix danger and challenge, because that's something we avoid. It's a place we don't want to go. And we don't want to be blindsided and thinking, oh, my career is great, I love my job, my manager loves me, and a month later, I get fired. I don't know what happened. I got pushed in. I don't know why. And we saw some people holding up their hand. That is fearful. What we want is, we want to be able to challenge each other's thoughts and ideas, and that requires diverse opinions. It requires diversity. And those of you who want to hire diverse talent and think we will all be comfy and cozy, you got it wrong. Because diversity brings challenge, and that's how you'll grow. And so when we do feel safe, we can be our true selves. We can be authentic. We can be who we are, truly are, with our failures, with our faults, with our edges, and with the loving people that we actually are. And when we can be authentic, then we feel we truly belong. And I want to leave you with something that I just recently read in Forbes that are saying, creating a safe environment where people feel like they can belong is one of the core expectations of leaders in the next decade. And this will define a company's success. Thank you very much.